listening to FANTASM Podcast, a horror death metal podcast for the old school. Join your hosts Corey Gorechrist and Dr. Vincent West as they stuff horror movie reviews and death metal interviews all in one body bag. Listen on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, and like on Facebook, and head over to StageDiverRadio.com for more.
This is John McEntee of Incantation, and you're listening to Vincent West on the FANTASM Podcast.
For a long time, and it's an honor to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, man, of course. All right, we'll get going here, and I'll introduce you, and we'll get everything rolling.
Okay, awesome.
This is Dr. Vincent West with the FANTASM Podcast, and my guest needs no introduction. Founder in the New York death metal scene, and just legend overall over the years, putting out amazing death metal and keeping us all on our toes for every release. And I'm joined today by John from Incantation. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. It's an honor to have you on, and of course you got the latest album.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's an honor. So we'll start out here for the listeners here. Let's talk about the history of Incantation, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I mean, the history of Incantation goes back quite a long way. I mean, it started in, around July, August, probably the beginning of August, 89, I think.
Okay.
I played in another band called Revenant before I played in Incantation. We were kind of like a death thrash type band, like with an aggressive. I'd say it's kind of like an aggressive thrash band or something like that. And I kind of wanted to take it more in a more brutal, aggressive direction that they wanted to go with. And at that time, we were searching for drummers. The drummer left that band, Revenant. And while I was looking for drummers, I came across Paul Ledney, who I was advised about from my friend Ross Dolan from Immolation. Told me that, about Paul Ledney. So we got together, and basically just kind of hit it off. But we kind of, after jamming on some of the Revenant songs together, that we really wanted to kind of do something different than what Revenant was doing. And, we decided, instead of having him, be a prospect drummer for Revenant, we just started our own band. I would leave Revenant and start a band, and we called it Incantation. It was basically kind of the birth of Incantation was from my other band. It just, it was kind of like I found, another person that kind of looked at things in a similar way as I did. So it was kind of, it kind of gave me that inspiration to move forward and stuff with Incan. And, from there, even though Paul Ledney and I lineup only lasted about 6 months or whatever before he decided he wanted to do more of a black metal band, which ended up being Profane Nexus. That kind of still gave me the inspiration to move forward kind of with my own vision with the band. And, pretty much, which is really fortunate because we ended up finding a really good lineup, after 2 years, with the kind of the Go Gospel lineup, really great members, just really great, it was great to jam with people that were, looking at things the same way I was, musically and lyrically, and we just were fortunate enough to be able to, come up with some really great music. And, our first album when it came out, we we had no idea how it was going to do, because it was something that I think was distinctively us as a band. It wasn't quite like the other death metal releases out there. So we really didn't know what to expect, but we were just kind of stubborn, kids just saying, fuck it, we want to do it our way, and everybody could fuck off. And, things worked out really well. And, there just, unfortunately our lineup didn't last so long. I think my explanation for why it didn't last is because I don't think we really ever expected the band to take off the way it did. And it's like, when things did as well as it did, it was weird, but it kind of broke us apart instead of pulling us together. Maybe it was just all of us being young and stuff, which was, kind of a bummer. I think when you're young, you don't know how to deal with things quite as diplomatically as you do when you're older and stuff. But, and from that point on, we've just been really fortunate. I mean, kind of after the, Golgotha lineup and stuff, the next really big step to the band was when, I met up with Kyle in Cleveland, and it just started off really well, and, the band really was able to move forward, because Kyle and I both had a similar vision, and we also got along really well with friends, and we both kind of complement each other, position in the band and stuff like that. We both have our strong points, and, we were able to work well as a team, and then just, just kind of been fortunate because, we put out in the late 90s, we put out Diabolical Conquest, which was like, an album that sold probably just as well, if not better, than, our Onward to About the album. So it was really great.
Right.
That, we were able to continue doing quality music over the years, I think early on people weren't sure. We did Onward to About, and then we did Mortal from Nazarene. At the time when we did Mortal from Nazarene, it didn't go over that well. People didn't really understand the album at all. So I think there was a segment of the population that kind of thought that Incantation was kind of like a one-trick pony with, Golgotha. And once we did Diabolical Conquest, it kind of showed that we still had, a lot of ideas and stuff like that, and that we weren't just kind of one of the fly-by-night death metal bands of the early 90s. And, from that point on, I mean, it's just, over the years, we've been lucky enough to gain new fans from all different eras of the band. I mean, it's such a phenomenal thing to have people of all different ages, people, from our age, obviously, from my age, at least, to, really obviously, got into like the early albums and stuff like that, because there's newer generations throughout our history that have different albums that they really think mean a lot to them. And as a songwriter, it's, such a great feeling to be able to write music that means something to all different generations of death metal heads, with us being able to kind of, speak to our brothers musically. It's a great feeling to kind of do things the way you want to do it and still have people like it, and not just like it for one era, but, we've been around now a crazy amount of 30 years, and we have people, for even over the last album, had new fans getting into us, which is great. It's just never ever in our wildest dreams would have thought that the band would have been still around 30 years from now. I mean, honestly, I thought maybe we had like a 5-year, span or something like that. 30 years is just almost ridiculous.
Right.
Especially for a death metal band. I never would have thought that. I thought that people would have been sick of the crazy stuff we do,
I've been a fan since Onward came out, and
awesome.
The scene that that you came out of in New York, now you have a relationship. There was Mortician as well, right? You played live with Mortician, is that right?
Yeah, the Mortician connection was after Paul Edney left the band, I had to put another lineup together, and we didn't have a vocalist at the time, and it just happened to be at that same time Mortician lost their guitar player. So we basically said, okay, well, how about I play guitar in Mortician until you just find somebody else, and if you can help us out with vocals on Incantation on a demo and maybe do some live shows, we just find a vocalist. So it ended up, we just kind of helped each other out, and I playing with Mortician was a real blast, and it was actually a really good learning experience for me, because before I played in Incantation, like I said, I played in Revenant, and we were a lot more technical as a band, and it was nice to go to a band like Mortician where it was like a band that made a lot more with a lot less. Like, there wasn't a lot of notes involved in the songs, but they still had the different feelings throughout the songs and stuff like that. And I learned a lot about, sometimes being simple, is just as good as being technical. You don't always need to do a lot of notes to make something good. You can do something original and simple. So, I'm really fortunate that I was able to play with Mortician. It was a really short time. I only played the band for about 6 to 8 months, but it was such a productive time in the band that, it almost seems longer, but when I look at it, it was really only a short period of time. But I mean, we did the Day of Death Fest, which kind of helped get Mortician time, because it brought us to a bigger audience. I was able to do the demo with Mortician, which, hit it off really well for them. And, played a whole bunch of live shows. A lot of the shows I played were Incantation Mortician shows, because it was just easier we were all there already, and we do a lot of shows together. And both bands didn't have enough of a repertoire of songs to play a nice long set. We'd be able to play 2 sets, and it probably was the same amount of time as, a regular headlining set or something.
Well, Will is one of those people. It's like having you on today. Anyone that knows me, having you on, and if I could ever have Will on, you guys are like bucket list death metal people for me. So it's it's really interesting hearing about the story with you guys. It's neat.
Oh, well, Mortician, is a great band. I've always been so happy for Mortician that they've done as well as they have in the band, because I think it just shows you that it's like, you could make your vision come true without having all the bells and whistles, It's like, when you listen to Mortician, it's just brutal as fuck, There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's good. It's like kind of no frills, no frills brutality, which I think is refreshing, So many bands, over-concentrate on, like I said, over-technicality on stuff, and sometimes just forgetting, like, the true barbarity of just, crushing it with, just a few heavy as fuck notes, I mean, Mortician is a great band. I mean, for me, my favorite Mortician release is Zombie Apocalypse. I mean, every time I listen to that, it just sounds like a monster just crushing everything in its path. It's like one of the heaviest releases I think ever recorded in history. I mean, it just, to me, it's so fucking heavy. It's unbelievable. It's definitely inspiring to hear that, because it just makes you want to just play heavier after listening to it. It's just it's such a high level of brutality. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still distinguishable, which is great too.
I mean, Hacked Up for Barbecue for me is just fucking fantastic.
Oh, but yeah, obviously that's a great release too. And I mean, so many classic songs are on there, for sure. I love that too. The only reason why I choose Zombie Apocalypse is just because, to me, that's just probably the heaviest recording in history. So, when I listen to it, it's such a monumental, release in heavy music for me. I mean, you know, Hacked Up for Barbecue, all that stuff is just amazing stuff too. You know, I love you know, the old stuff I used to play with, like Drilling for Brains and Necrocannibal. What's the other one? I can't think of it now. Oh,
yeah, it's...
That was one of the roles when I was in the band, and actually such a fucking killer riff. It just stood out. You know, once you heard that, people just went fucking bananas. You know, it's amazing.
Now, knowing those guys, was Roger more the horror guy, or was Will more the horror guy?
Oh, well, Will was definitely the horror guy. I mean, when I first would go over to Will's house and I'd try to learn Mortician songs, or we would work on some Incan stuff or whatnot, I'd go over to his place, and he had a huge collection of horror movies. And we're talking, you know, we were like probably 20 years old, 21 max, probably, you know, and he had already a huge collection of horror movies and stuff. So Will definitely is the horror guy. I mean, Will is just a big collector of horror music, horror movies, death metal music, and like hardcore and punk music. He's just a collector of stuff of extreme, you know, media and stuff like that. So I would say definitely Will is the brains behind the horror movie aspect of Mortician. You know, and then once Roger came in the band, you know, he was just the perfect person to play with Will, because he just really brought in an extra layer of brutality to what he was doing. I mean, Roger's, you know, guitar work in Mortician is just second to none when it comes to heaviness, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And if anything, Roger's the Star Wars guy. I mean, he's out of his mind with Star Wars. I mean, I remember going to his house. He just had rooms and rooms full of Star Wars. I mean, non-stop Star Wars. The dude's out of his freaking mind. Star Wars. I mean, I like Star Wars too, but he's just like, it's like, you know, he enjoys Star Wars as much as a crack-addicted whore, you know, like crack, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now,
it totally rules though, you know. Well, Roger's a great guy, a great guitar player, and a great friend too. Really nice guy.
Do you still keep in touch with Will at all?
Yeah, we still talk. I mean, we don't talk a lot, like you know, on the phone or anything, but we keep in touch a little bit by email, and mostly just when we see each other, you know, we talk and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, Will's always you know, been a great friend of mine, and just someone I've always really appreciated his help in the band, and the fact of letting me play with Mortician, I always thought was you know, something I always hold close to me, you know?
Definitely. Now that scene, you know, just you know, it's so amazing, you know, having you on today, because we've had the Suffocation guys, we've had Immolation on, and so having you on was, you know, huge. And then hopefully one day we'll find out. I don't know. I've tried reaching out to I don't really know how to get in touch with him, and so, but yeah, maybe one day. But yeah. Oh, go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I know Will's like on Facebook and stuff, so you could reach out to him that way. I don't know how active he is on there, but I know he has a Facebook account.
Not very active. I don't think he's been on there in like 2 years. I've tried.
Oh, it's possible. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mostly see him at shows and stuff like that. But I know they're starting to play out more Mortician again. So, you know, I'm sure I'll see him around, and I'll put in a good word for you.
I appreciate that, John. That's awesome.
Well, next time I see him.
Yeah, man. Okay, so Profane Nexus, one of my favorite albums from last year. So many death metal releases. One of the top tier releases last year, and
thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, of course. And what I'd like to do now with you, if it's cool, go track by track with you and have you tell the listeners here about some of the songs here.
Okay, I mean, I could do it more musically, because the lyrics are actually quite complex, and that's like a Chuck Sherwood thing to explain. And
okay.
you could probably have a whole podcast on him on his own explaining the stories, because he's out of his freaking mind.
Okay.
But,
well, maybe we'll have Chuck on to do that. But yeah, if you don't mind doing the music for each one, I'd love to get you to do that if that's cool.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. So we'll start with Muse.
Okay. Well, that one was that one actually was like a really I guess I would consider a really old song. It was a song that we've had lying around in the Incantation camp since about 2011 or something. And the riffs, like, we had the basic riffs, and we always take it out to try to work on, because we were going to use it for Vanquishing Vengeance, then we were going to use it for a Dirge of Elysium, but it's like the song just never made the cut. Like, it never worked out the proper way. I mean, we've rewritten it and restructured the same riffs, and we knew we liked the general gist of it. It's just that the pieces never fell together, and that it was just one day at practice. I just got inspired, and we added kind of like there's two different things. Is we just added, like, we changed the way we played, like, the first main riff in the song, and then we also added, like, the doomy part at the end, and we were just able to turn it into, a really great landscape of the song, where it just kind of starts off, really kind of aggressive and brutal, and then kind of goes into a kind of a more twisted, doomier-ish type, passageway kind of towards the end, which is something that we, really like doing with our songs. We like to have them kind of go somewhere, and a lot, I think that song ended up really having a 90s, more traditional Incantation vibe to it once all the pieces kind of went together. It's one of those things where you just can't, like, force a song to be right. It's better just to hold on to the song for a while and just wait for all the pieces to fall together. But I really like the song a lot. I think in my opinion, it became one of my highlights of the album. But it was just, it was weird because it came from a song that was just kind of like, the lemon of the pack for a while. We couldn't get it to work. But one day you just get that spark, and it's like, it all makes sense now.
It's a great track.
Yeah, and I think it's a good intro track, because it kind of gives you everything, a little taste of everything what Incantation is, kind of in a nutshell, which I think is a good way to start the album and stuff. So
definitely. And then track 2, Rites of the Locust.
Okay, yeah, Rites of the Locust was that was basically a song that Chuck came up with, kind of the basic riff ideas for that song, and it just kind of it was kind of like, I would say it was mostly a Chuck song with a little bit of my input in there, but it was like Chuck came up with most of the riffs, and it was just like, basically, my contribution to it was more almost like structure, and trying to make the structure kind of pop and mean something or whatever. And then, like, Sonny came up with the idea of really taking, like, the first riff and really, like, getting the picking really fast for that part and make it like an more intense than it originally was. Like, maybe the earlier version of that picking was a lot more strumming, almost more like an old Unholy Massacre kind of vibe.
Right.
And with with Sonny, he put in the idea of adding the picking more brutal, and I thought it just really helped the song kind of stand on its own as a good, brutal, original sounding song, you know. And the thing I like about the song is that it doesn't sound. It sounds like an incantation song, but it doesn't sound like any. You know, it doesn't sound like another incantation song at all. It kind of has its own identity to it, which I think is, for me, means a lot, because after all these years of writing songs, you know, I like to still have stuff that, you know, it sounds like incantation, but doesn't sound like just rehashed old stuff, which I thought that was a good example of, you know, writing new songs, but still keeping the traditional vibe there, you know? Definitely.
It's a killer track. And then track 3, I'm going to do my best to pronounce, Visceral Hexahedron. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Visceral Hexahedron, yeah. That one, offhand, I got to think of what the freaking song is now. I haven't played that one for a while.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I just some off the top of my head, that one is God damn it! Wow, it would help if I remember the damn song from the end.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck. If I could just hear it for a second, I'd know. Cause that. Fuck. What do you think? That was.
I can read you some lyrics if you like.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That might help.
I reside within, under fathomless silence, event horizon of gathered darkness. Their daggers slice through thought, subconscious, this chamber. I'm confined, cerebral, secretion cloaked interior, where life is inferior.
Man, I feel like a dope. I can't think of the fucking song. I just can't. I'm having a mental breakdown at the moment. Hold on a second. Just give me one quick moment, okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, John. No, you're good.
Yeah, let me see here. I guess, you know, listen to it now. I'm not at home. I can't just check.
Yeah, whatever you need to do, man. You're good. I didn't mean to stump you.
No, it shouldn't have, really, but my brain has been, like, on other stuff.
Dude, you guys have so much stuff. I don't know how you... I mean, it would all run together to me after a while, to be honest with you.
Let me see here. Once I hear it for a second, I'm going to call what a dope.
No, it's all good, man.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
Sweet. That's the power of the editing tool too, John. None of this ever happened.
That's a great song. I totally, yeah. You know what? It's kind of weird because I almost forgot about it. Because, like, after I do the album, I, like, never listen to it again unless I have to work on the songs cassette list.
Sure.
Because I don't get pleasure out of hearing my own music. And that's a killer song. You gotta play that one. Anyway, yeah, that one was, that one is really killer, just like, you know, more of like a good old sludgy kind of heavy doom one. It's one, if I remember correctly, I think most of that one I came up with myself, as far as actual riff-wise, it was just, like, I had the ideas, which I thought were really cool for, like, the earlier, slower part where, you know, the guitars do, like, that kind of, those kind of push bends over the slow doomy part. I just thought it would be a really cool kind of added bonus. And, yeah, I like it because, to me, that's just really, like, highlights our, you know, barbarity in that song. I mean, it just has, like, it just, to me at least, it just has a feeling of just pissed off, agonizing, just heavy as fuck, you know, kind of vibe to it. And I really like the last verse in that song. It just ends in a really, I think it just ends with a really cool riff. And it's kind of one of those songs just kind of like moves, you know, it does a little back and forth in the early middle part of it, but most of the song kind of moves ahead. And that song itself is kind of like I call it the Cliff Note version of the original version of the song, where we had the same song that was about a 10-minute song, and we decided for the album we were going to cut it down to, like, a reasonably length song so we could actually play it live sometime. And we have like a demo version of that song closer to, like, a 10-minute mark that we're probably going to re-record one day as, you know, maybe like an added bonus or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But we just didn't, the thing was, is we had a couple of songs that were kind of long, and we didn't want to do another long song because both on Vanquish and Vengeance and on Dirge of Elysium we had, like, Dirge of Elysium has like a 16-minute song, and Vanquish and Vengeance had, you know, like, I don't know, like 11-minute song. So I didn't want to do another album with another super long song on it just because I thought it was too predictable, you know, I don't want to be like, okay, that's the long song for the album, because we don't write a song necessarily to be short or long for the most part. We just write the song until it's over with.
Sure.
But what was kind of cool with this song is we were able to shorten it down, and still make it work as a good song. But we thought it'd be kind of cool to still, you know, keep the old demo track of the long version of it, just kind of for, you know, die-hard Incantation fans would probably enjoy hearing the extended version of it. But for the album, you know, the shorter version just seemed to be more appropriate for what we were trying to accomplish on this album. Because I think the album has a good amount of slow stuff, and I just thought that since it had already enough slow stuff, to have another 10-minute slow song might just not keep the flow of the album as well as we want it. Because an album is more, to me, it's more about the full flow of all the songs, the way they work together. And to do, you know, sometimes it's better to organize the songs to fit the album properly than to just have individual good songs. I mean, you know, say like early album, like Onward to Golgotha was just all the songs we had at the time when we put it on the album. But now it's like we have so many songs we could pick and choose to make sure the album flows properly. And, you know, like to this album, we had a whole bunch of extra material we didn't use just because there was no need. You know, it didn't fit on the album. It wasn't that the song was bad or anything. It was just, you know, certain songs just didn't fit with the overall chemistry.
Sure.
So, but yeah, but that one's a killer. Actually, I want to fit that one in the set list now that I, you know, thought about it again. Not that I totally forgot about the song, but it just was, I hadn't listened to it for a little while because, like I said after we do the album, I don't listen to the song. I don't listen to the album after, like, kind of final mix because it's just kind of like, I don't know, I feel retarded and just uninterested in going home listening to my own music rather than from somebody else.
Sure, that makes sense.
Because, I mean, if I listen to my own songs, it's kind of like there's no surprises. It's just like, whatever.
Right, exactly. All right, track 4.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was done.
Okay, track 4, The Horns of Geffen.
Yeah. The Horns of Geffen, that's, another really killer song. Let me just think. Fuck, if I can remember that one too. Ah, it's so retarded. I gotta listen to it for a second.
Yeah, go for it. No, you're good.
Oh, man. Yeah, this song, the Horns of Geffen song, is I saw most of the music for that one was a Chuck song too that he wrote, which I really liked because the riffing style in that has a real almost like a, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like a circular motion where it's like, and I like that kind of vibe ever since I got into stuff like Necrovore and stuff back in the day.
Uh-huh.
I like that vibe of the it's like almost like the riff, if I can explain it, is almost like a hive of bees or something attacking you, where it's a vibe also got like early Nuclear Death had and stuff with their songs, where it was just like, it was like almost, I wouldn't even say muddy, but it has like a aura around it. Some of the riffs in that song, which I just thought, was another really cool, cool riffing, and it's cool because this is kind of really, really shows off Chuck's input in the band. Because he's really, the really great thing about Chuck is an amazing bass player and a phenomenal songwriter. Like lyrically, but he also comes up with really cool riffs and really cool different ideas, and sometimes brings up like counter ideas to like what I'm writing or thinking of at the moment. So it's so great to have that kind of input to the album and the song, because if I wrote everything myself, things might end up being a little bit more one-dimensional. But the fact that everybody in the band contributes song-wise to it, we're able to get so many more vibes and feeling in that song. But that's a really killer song. I actually think that's another song on the album that probably sounds closer to our 90s material than say some of the newer stuff that we've done on the last couple albums. And for me, that's always great, because I always appreciate stuff sounding, having a old school sound, because an old school sound to me is just the normal school I grew up in,
Fucking A, yes, same here.
Yeah.
Track 5, Incorporeal Despair.
Okay. Yeah, that one was like, the whole concept with that one was kind of like fuck everybody kind of vibe to it.
Right.
It was just like, we really wanted something that was just simple, crushing, and like, say, atmospheric,
right,
and a lot of feeling without sounding wimpy or cheesy,
Sure.
Like, it was like kind of people kind of consider it kind of funeral doom type song or something. And I guess maybe it is, but I wanted this take, like, there's so much like doom and atmospheric music out now that to me is just really lame and really bubblegum.
Sure.
And I wanted to do something just more of a vibe where you just could listen to it and just soak up the feeling and the passion, with still keeping it very, very simple, barbaric, but also layered and almost intricate in a certain way. But, you know, so to me it was just like a really, really cool, you know, really cool song to try to write, because, like, even when I brought it to practice, it's like, basically the song is, what, 2 or 3 notes, you know, like, main notes, and without, like, the proper layering, if I practice, it's just like, my bandmates think I'm on crack or something, you know, because I'm just saying, like, yeah, just hit this, you know, just hit, you know, go dong, and just let it sit out for a while, and go dong again, and it comes across as like, yeah, you speak a mind, but then once, like, we recorded it, and then I was able to say, okay, now let's add the stuff to it and stuff, and then it all kind of fell together in its own way. It was really for me, it was a fun, creative thing to do, and I just think it's, you know, for me, you should never have enough, like, just agonizing doom on an album and stuff like that. I mean, even though a lot of our albums go really fast, the doom part's always been really important. And I always look for new ways to incorporate doom into what we already do. You know, because I don't always want it to be just the typical, this is the incantation sludgy doom part. I want it to be interesting for me, and I want it interesting to be for our supporters out there, because, you know, I mean, some people might want us to just redo one of our old albums, but for me, it's, you know, it's about conquering new ground, but still the same feeling and the same tools we've used throughout the years. So I think that's a really good example of, you know, doing something totally different, but at the same time, you know, it still distinctively sounds like incantation, and, you know, I just think it's a great, you know, a great different thing. I mean, if you hate doom stuff, you're going to hate that song, but if you're like me and, you know, you like really sludgy doom stuff, you know, you'll think it's, you know, probably a, you know, pretty good song, I guess, you know?
It's a great track. And have y'all been playing that live?
No, you know, we haven't played that one live yet. I didn't really, we haven't played it live yet. We've been doing a few Doom sets here and there for specialty shows. That would be an interesting one to try to incorporate in that. I wouldn't take those two, but we just haven't taken on that task lately of just trying to add that one too. I think it would be, I don't know, I think that song might actually be harder to play live than what, you know, what people would expect, because people think like playing the Doom stuff is easier because, you know, it's less notes, but to actually get that feeling properly is not as easy as you think, because in a fast song, everything passes by so fast, but even if there's like something not 100% perfect or right, you can't notice it that much. But in a Doom song, you know, if you play it, it doesn't have the proper feeling, just the whole vibe is just totally fucked up. But yeah, I'm not opposed to playing it live, and it would be kind of fun, I think, to play it live, as a matter of fact, you know?
Yeah, it's a
it would
cool
definitely kick people's asses, you know? It would bring the set to a agonizing halt for a little bit, which would be fun.
Well, it's a great track. And then the next one, I'm going to try to pronounce as best I can, track 6, Zype Totek?
Yeah, it's Zimpek Totek.
Okay, Zimpek Totek. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really strange because I don't know how the hell that song came to be Zimpek Totek, because when we were recording it, the song was called Night Drinker, which is, it's funny because the name Night Drinker just sounds like somebody at night likes to drink, but actually it's actually a little more complex than that. But then what happened, for some reason, when it came to like the final version on the album, I looked at the title and it said Deepak Totek, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we changed it. So, but anyway, that's a song that was like, if I remember correctly, it was one that Kyle just came up with for the most part, riff-wise. We added stuff to it, but Kyle kind of just like was like driving and turned on his phone and started like humming these riffs in this phone and sent me like these recordings of these him going
Right.
And all I did was transcribe his humming to riffs, and the song was pretty much like, since he wrote the song on drums, all I had to do was play the guitar parts that he hummed to me, and the song was like done in like, half an hour or something like that. And then just the middle part with like the chords over like that goes the part where it goes and has like a ding where like over it. That part was like I was thinking of something, and then Sonny came up with the chords over it because I needed something there, and he came up with the chords over it, and it just brought out like a whole nother dimension for that. So it that was another song that like Kyle came up with like the fundamentals of it, and then between everybody else tossing in their 2 cents, made it from like a pretty simple concept song to a song that really really just kicks ass and just has a really good vibe, and it has a lot of aggressive solo playing over it, which you really wanted. We wanted just to be kind of like one of those kick you in the ass kind of songs, just straight out, kind of a quick punch in the head and then it's out of there, and I think we accomplished that. That's a really one of my favorite songs. I just love a quick rager, like that.
Oh, it's great. It's a sick song. And then track 7, again, I'm gonna, if I mess this up, I apologize. Louis Sepulchre?
Yeah, Loose Sepulchre.
Loose Sepulchre, sorry.
Yeah, no, trust me. If Chuck didn't tell me how to pronounce it, I wouldn't know either. Yeah, that was a song. That was another song that we actually had. It was kind of, actually was a Dirge of Elysium song that never quite 100% finished, and we decided to just put it aside for a little bit, and we started working on it again once the Songs for This Sound came out, and it changed substantially. It was like one of those songs before where the riffs were, the basic idea was there for probably about 4 years, but it was just one day at practice, the inspiration just hit me, and I was just like a mad scientist. I was just telling God, I got this idea, let's do this, switch this around or whatever really quickly, and just the song just kind of really fell together really good, and ended up being kind of what I wanted. The one thing was I wanted it to be another like heavy song on like secondary guitar solo parts and stuff like that, because I wanted like the aggression of the soloing, and then I wanted like the kind of the powering through of some of the mid-tempo parts. So it has like the part that goes
right.
So it kind of like has like that really punch in your face, and then kind of like a cool driving part after it. And I thought it was really cool to have the soloing on like the punchier part to even give it like a little more kind of aggressive chaos to the whole thing. And I really think, as far as like catchy songs on an album, that's definitely one of the ones that like stands out as far as like when people hear it, they can really grasp it really easy and stuff, which is kind of cool dynamic to have. When you're writing an album, at least for me, I want to have the songs that kind of like different songs, I wanted to be different. I wanted to express different, vibes and stuff like that. And I think that one's a good song. It just kind of gets that good mid-tempo death metal vibe. You have something, say similar to, I don't know, if I think of an older song like maybe Profanation or with Iconoclasm of Catholicism, or something like a song like Blasphemy or something like that. Just one that really driving vibe throughout the song, and it really came out good. And we find that one a lot live in the set. It just goes over really good. It's like one of those. This is a really good headbanger of a song,
It's great. Yeah, it's a great track. And then track 8, Stormgate Convulsions from the Thunderous Shores of Infernal Realms Beyond the Grace of God.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one was basically. I haven't done a intro type song for quite some time. I think the last album that had an intro type song was the Blasphemy album. So I really wanted to do something that was an intro, but I wanted to give it like a kind of a horror movie vibe to it or something like that.
Right.
And I think I accomplished that. It's probably the most controversial song on the album because a lot of people are just like, why even have that on there, because it's more of an intro than it is a song. But for us, it fits in with the, the whole landscape of the album. Because like I said, we look at it as a full album. We're not looking at it just as individual songs. These days, a lot of people listen to our songs individually, like on YouTube, or they'll listen to them.
Sure.
They'll download maybe just a few songs that they prefer of the album. But as a band, we're looking at it as a full picture, and for us, that was just, it's something we thought fit in good with the vibe of the album. Because, I look at it like you sit there, you listen to side 1 and side 2, because back in the day when I listened to records, I would sit there and my focus would be on the record. It wasn't like background music for me doing other things. Like I would sit there, look at the cover, listen to it, pay attention to it, and that was what I was doing, And now a lot of people don't sit there and listen to a whole record, and have the record as the event, It's usually background music for people these days a lot. So I think people that don't listen to it in the way that, we do, I did, at least back in, my younger days especially, and I still do now, but especially back in the younger days where I listened to every aspect of an album and focused in on it. Some people, just hear it, when they just hear it like off the bat, they don't have any clue what the hell planet we're on with the song. But if you listen to it in the context of the album, I think it makes a lot of sense. And, I was happy to do an intro type thing again, because it's just been, years since we did anything like that. It was kind of funny. That brings up a story where on the Forsaken Morning of Angelic Angus, we did like that outro song on there. And I remember after we did it that it was a time when like noise bands were popular, like Merzbow and Naminex and these weird other bands that just were like making albums with just weird noises on it.
Yeah.
And I remember Bill from Relapse Records told me like he thought that outro that I did was like, he's like, this thing's like a masterpiece, You can do a full album of like music like that, And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's an outro. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you like it, but it's like, I'm not going to do a full album of intro and outros, I mean, maybe there was a market for it, and I just didn't see it. But for me, I thought it was really odd to get that much credit from a record company from our outro, for me, yeah, I mean, I put a lot of work into it, but it's not like, I'd rather get credit for my actual songs than just noise and stuff like that,
Yeah,
so exactly. I thought it was kind of funny. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, I think it's a cool intro to the altar of the Omen of Onyx. I thought it worked out good.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then, of course, the next track is Messiah Nostrum.
Oh, I'm sorry, Messiah Nostrum. That's Stage 2 when it goes into. I apologize.
No,
I
you're
did
good.
the wrong song. But anyway, yeah, Messiah is, a killer. It's was the song that, like, one of the songs that Relapse really liked a lot off the album. They wanted us to do a video for. I think that one was that the regular video 360. I can't remember, but they wanted us to do it as one of my kind of singles for the album and stuff like that. And I thought it was really good. I like the fact that one kind of starts and ends really heavy and just is kind of like a kind of a more of a rager in between. I know that song was a song that I had a majority of the riffs for originally, but then Sonny added in a couple riffs, and it just was one of those songs where my original version just needed like an extra pizzazz to it, and once Sonny added his riffs to the song, it just really made the song into a really killer track and stuff. And that's another one we've been playing out live a lot, and it always gets a really good response. I mean, people really like the heavy intro going into the raging part, and then ending kind of with that. I would almost say the ending part is almost like an old Mortician vibe type.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe, into there, which is always fun to add that old Mortician influence to our songs,
It's a great track, man. I really, that's the first track I heard off the album before I bought it, and I really like it.
That was the one. I think the first one they released. That might have been the 360. I can't remember. I can't remember the order they released it in, but yeah, that was the first one, and that really hit off really well,
Yeah, it's great. And then track 10, Omens to the Altar of Onyx.
Yeah, that one was a song too where I was trying to do another kind of slower doom-oriented song in a little bit of a different style than what I've done in the past. I really wanted that. I wanted it like heavy as fuck, but I wanted it to kind of move on, almost like a like heavy machinery or something like that. It was like
right.
Some kind of it was heavy, but it was kind of like it was still moving. It wasn't like heavy as much in a sluggish way until the middle. It's heavy, but it's like moving forward kind of thing, So I really think we accomplished that, and it's definitely a really catchy song, and I like it because it's another song that really doesn't sound like anything we've really done in the past, but it still totally sounds like Incantation. And for me, I really enjoyed the intro part of the song with the harmonies that Sonny put on the beginning of that.
Uh-huh.
And then I also like the middle part a lot, where it kind of just has really simple riffs, and then there's like kind of a little down kind of thing in the riff. I just think it really accents the heaviness of that part really good. I don't know, to me it was a really it's a really fun song to play live. It's just a really a song. That was like one song I was really kind of stubborn at that I wanted on the album, because I just thought it was a good song and a different kind of song to throw on the album instead of I just felt like it needed to be in the mix,
Definitely. It's a great way to start closing the album out too. And then of course the final track, track 11, Ancients Arise.
Oh yeah, that's another one that I really like a lot. We played that one live in our June set at Phoenix Extreme Fest, and it was so much fun, because it's another one that just chugs away. To me, it almost reminds me of like an old, slower Sodom type song or something like that, where it just has the tick. It has like good just a pounding vibe through it, you know, but it's still kind of like, you know, it's like pounding and chunky and basic, but then you know, it has its like moments of you know, like, I wouldn't say complexity, but just like the way the song ends and stuff like that. It's like it goes from like a really, I don't know, I almost consider it like a really morbid intro of like goats, or like goats blowing horns or something like that,
right,
going into like more of an attack mode in the middle of it. The song is, you know, just has like an attack mode and then it like gets to a crescendo of just even more like punishment, and then it kind of ends with something almost more like twisted, which I would consider more of almost like a celebration of, you know, like some kind of damnation or something like that. You know, it's just like, to me, it just really, it's almost like a short story in a song, you know, where it has just a lot of different, you know, feelings throughout the song, but it's also, you know, just the overall vibe is just like agonizing doom, like you're just totally fucked kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way to end the album too. It's absolutely fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you for going through all the tracks with me. The artwork is some of the best you guys have ever done. I absolutely love this artwork. I'm looking at it right now. I absolutely love the artwork for Profane Nexus.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Eleanor, I always pronounce his name wrong, but it's not Eleanor. Cantor, I know his last name. I always forget how to pronounce his first name. But he did an amazing job on the artwork. I mean, he worked really closely with Chuck to, you know, match it in with the lyrics. And what was really great about working with Cantor was that he ended up being open to all our ideas. Like, he really worked hard on trying to make us happy with the artwork. You know, he wasn't like, okay, here it is, done, and take it. He was willing to do everything he could to try to make sure that, you know, it came out the way we wanted it. And it was really good because, you know, we were able to get all the album influences in the artwork that we wanted, but you know, Kyle and I also wanted to make sure that it was like, because some of the stuff, the ideas were just too fucking crazy that it didn't make any sense whatsoever, you know. So he was really cool at trying to, like, you know, tame some of the stuff down after, you know, kind of went overboard a little bit with it, you know, which is good that he did that. But, you know, we want to have it represent the concept of the album, but at the same time wanted to make sure that, you know, it was, you look at it and be like, fuck, you know, that's a fucking piece of artwork, you know, it looks like a badass. It's not just a, you know, it's one of the things that, you know, most of our album covers, you know, we really wanted our artwork to be a piece of art that you could look at and appreciate for the art aspect of it, as well as, you know, the twistedness of what, you know, an Incantation album cover should be. And that's definitely a great example of, you know, like, concept, keeping with, you know, the abstractness that we like to it. Because we really feel that the more the abstract the art is, the more it works with us, because we're kind of an abstract kind of band. Even though we're a death metal band, we play pretty traditional death metal if you come to the basics of it. We're still very abstract. It's still very, you know, complex in the way that we do things in the band. So that kind of abstract vibe just works out great. And we're totally pleased with it. We're definitely going to work with him on the next album artwork. He's been doing an amazing job, especially for the last 2 albums. He's just been a great job. Great guy. Nice guy, great guy to work with.
What I love about it so much, for me, of all the releases last year, it was the best artwork. It's just a fantastic album. the Dan Swano production and you guys bringing everything, firing on all cylinders on the songs. But that artwork is just, it's beautiful. I love looking at. I've got the CD here with me now. I love looking at it when I'm listening to it. It's really cool.
But yeah, and that's part of the way that we look at it. Is we want it to be something that represents the album, and we also want it to look like us. We don't just want the generic death metal artwork. We never really wanted that on any of our album covers. We never wanted the generic death. We always wanted to be distinguishable to our style. We never looked at ourselves, even though we're traditional death metal and we're proud to be death metal. We always felt that we do things our way, we're ourselves, and the album cover artwork, was always something important to us. Where we wanted the album artwork to represent the sickness that was on the album. People look at it and be like, "That's some fucked up art," and
right,
the music is, that's more fucked up.
Oh, it's fantastic! It's such a great release.
And yeah, I see. It's kind of a bummer because I see there's a lot of really great albums, but a lot of times the artwork is just like cheese on a bun. I think there's just not enough time and effort put into it to really make the album cover great. Because I like it too. I want to see an album cover and I just want to be like, fuck, that's fucking metal as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. And, of course, you guys are going to be out doing some headline shows. You're going to be out with Exhumed, and you're also going to be out with Mayhem, right?
Yeah, we just actually finished the dates with Exhumed just about a week ago.
Oh, okay.
And that was a total blast. We did Exhumed and Phobia we played with, which was a total blast. It was a great, diverse lineup because, Phobia is more, old school grindcore. Exhumed's, more kind of gore, grind, thrash, I don't know what they are. They're like kind of a smorgasbord, I guess, of everything. And then us, so really made for some killer shows, and just like a lot of people came out from all different kind of styles of extreme music. And for me, it makes it really good to have, three really good bands on the bill, and, different styles of, death metal or extreme music and stuff like that. Because I kind of sometimes shy away from bands that sound, too similar on the bill, just because for me it's just uninteresting. I'd rather have, diverse lineup, not totally crazy, but just bands that are distinguishably different,
Yeah, sure, exactly. Good variety.
Yeah, but yeah, we have some headlining shows we're doing. We're doing that pre-fest for the Beer and Metal Fest, and we're doing a bunch of headlining shows kind of on the East Coast and down towards Florida and stuff. Then we have he's doing some dates with Mayhem. I think we did 3 shows, including the Beer and Metal Fest in Philadelphia. So, we're definitely keeping busy with that. We also have the Las Vegas Death Fest that we're doing in May.
Excellent.
They don't have the dates yet, but I know we're doing also about 5 shows in Italy coming up in May.
Oh, wow.
And then we're doing Maryland Death Fest at the end of May. And then we still have a whole bunch of other things coming up throughout the year. Just nothing's confirmed 100% yet. But it's good for next year or so. It's going to be really busy. And on almost all our off time, we're trying to finish up the recording of the next album, because we have all the songs written for the next album. We're just kind of trying to pick out which ones and do like some finishing touches on vocal patterns and stuff. And we want to try to we're going to start recording that probably next month in April. Start recording the drum tracks for some of the songs for the next album, because we're just really looking forward to getting some more new music out. We've just been so inspired lately. We just want to just keep releasing stuff while we have the inspiration.
Oh, that's amazing.
We have 4 songwriters in the band now. Everyone writes music, so it's like an album of 10 songs. That takes no time at all. With everyone contributing 2 songs, the album's almost done. So,
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to releasing more and just once the touring cycle's done for this album, be able to have another album ready for whenever Relapse wants to release it, you know?
It's very exciting. I know we'll be looking forward to that. John, one of the things we do on the podcast is we're big horror fans. Are you a horror fan at all?
Yeah, I like horror. I'm not as insane as Will. I'm definitely not as insane as Will Roundler, but even Kyle and Chuck are more like total horror freaks. I like horror movies, but I'm not a total insane loony like those guys are, you know. But I'm down. But what's the deal?
So what was the first horror movie that you saw that you loved?
The first one that I saw that I loved.
Yeah, that you were just like, this is awesome.
It's hard to say. I mean, I grew up as a kid in the 70s, and I used to watch, like, I can't remember what it's called, like the something creeper show where he used to have the hand that came out of the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't think of, I was like, feature creep, I can't remember, it's too long ago, but I used to like watch that as a kid, you know, and it used to have like, you know, kind of like the really old horror movies, you know, like the Creature from the Black Lagoon and stuff like that as a kid, you know, and those kind of things I watched, but like probably the time when I really kind of got into like horror movies was like in the early 80s. I started watching more. I started renting them from a local video store. And I would say probably, it's hard to say because there's a lot of great horror movies that I liked from that era, but probably first one that like really hit me, like I have to say it was probably the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Such a great movie.
When I seen the first time, when the girl goes in the house and Leatherface just comes out from the back room and slams her on the head with the hammer.
Yeah.
And she's convulsing on the ground. And he pulls her back and he closes the door. I mean, as a young kid, that was fucking disturbing as fuck, you know? And
Yeah.
just the whole movie in general with, like, you know, what was it? The grandpa trying to hit her over the head with the hammer and they're holding the hand and they're all freaking out. And, you know, just how warped that was just, you know, that was just, I mean, you know, as a teenager, young teenager, you're just like, holy fuck, you know? And I was young enough when I watched it that I didn't know if that was real or not real, you know, like, because they told you it was a true story. And you know it's not real, but part of you inside of you is like, man, that could be real, you know, like, not really happening, but it could have really happened, you know? So that was definitely one that did it. But the other ones that probably, I mean, there's probably four that really, well, that one was probably the first one, but then, like, the first Exorcist movie really hit me too. I mean, yeah, that was just amazing. And like first couple Allman movies were just so phenomenal too. Those, and then like the first Evil Dead, those all just like really hit me. I mean, I watched other things like, you know, Friday the 13th and stuff, and those were all good, and I liked them, but just something about, you know, the Omens, because those were like, you know, satanic type horror movies, and like, you know, and Exorcist, and it was just something about that satanic edge to it, you know, really, to me, made it more almost, I don't know if it was realistic, but just add an extra layer of fucked upness to it, you know?
Completely.
I mean, you know, with the girl hanging herself outside of the house in the Omen, you know, as part of the party.
It's great.
You know, that stuff, you know, and that's just disturbing, you know? But yeah, if I had to pick one, it'd be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I know when I've seen that, I mean, just seeing that freak hitchhiking and cutting himself in the car and then marking the car with the blood and stuff, it was just it's just like, what the fuck is going on here, you know, especially as a kid. But, you know, it, like, attracts you in, like, you're interested. You know, like, this is, like, really disturbing, but you want to watch it anyway, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's, like, you know, it kind of like, you know, it's just a great, you know, great vibe, and it, you know, totally fit in with the kind of music I was into and stuff like that, you know? So I just love that horror, you know, like I said, for me, if it's blasphemous and horror, it gives me an added bonus, you know, because I've always been attracted to, you know, dark, blasphemous kind of, you know, horror movies that are done well, you know, not anything cheesy, you know?
Sure, yeah, definitely, and those are all great movies. I was going to tell you the stairs in The Exorcist are actually, they've made it actually like a public thing, like they can't tear them down.
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
awesome.
The stairs that Karis goes down. Yeah, if you guys are ever in that area, I've never done it myself, but apparently they've made, you can go stand on their stairs. There's like a plaque, and the stairs are still there. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, that is. I mean, I know it was a huge movie when it came out, but it was just, you know, it was a huge movie that deserved to be a huge movie because it was just done so well, and you know, it took, like, you know, horror movies to again, just another level. You know, like it was evil and it was blasphemous, but it was like really well done. And it's not just like the crazy scenes in the movie that made it good. It was just the overall vibe of it, the way, like, the lighting of the movie, but just everything about the movie just gave texture and aura. And that's the same thing with, like, all those older movies from the 70s and 80s that really impacted me. Like, now horror movies are so CGI'd, and sometimes it takes away from that, you know, grainy film, that vibe where it just feels like, you know, you feel like they do sometimes more with the feeling of the movie or the music in the movie in those older movies, where it wasn't just the gore aspect of it, or just, you know, it was like the sounds would shock you, or the way people would move in the darkness, or the way the shadows were. All that stuff was really, really, you know, really worked well in those early movies. And I think sometimes people forget that doing movies. It's almost like playing death metal and playing it with the early way, with the vibe, and then there's new bands come out that just worry about beats per minute and being tight, and they forget about the overall flavor that was mixed in with it, you know?
I completely agree with you.
It happened with a lot of horror movies. I mean, there's still good new horror movies out, but there's just a lot of them, they're good for a different reason, you know?
Well, they're missing, like what you said, they're missing the dread aspect of it. The vibe isn't there. I totally agree with you. I'm 100% on, yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. You're exactly right.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely, yeah, I'm a fan of, you know, like I said, that older era. Yeah, it's so great.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. Well,
yeah, but if you get a chance to talk to Chuck or Kyle, definitely talk to them about horror stuff, because they'll talk your freaking ear off about it. Those guys are just out of their freaking mind. I mean, Chuck's watched almost every horror movie he could possibly get his hands on. I mean, he watches like usually 3 horror movies every day. He's out of his freaking mind.
It sounds like me.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'd love to have those guys on sometime. That'd be great. Do a recap with you. Have all you guys come on. But
okay, this is John from Incantation. You're listening to the FANTASM podcast.
Oh, that's awesome, John. It's been an absolute honor having you on here, and you guys are going to be on the road, and everybody can look for you out there. Profane Nexus is available now from Relapse Records, and dude, it has been an absolute honor having you on today.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us. And I just want to thank you, and also thank all the you know, true death metal heads out there for the years of support. And you know, we're going to keep doing this until, you know, we have nothing else to say to our music. Luckily, we have a lot to say, so we'll be around for a while.
Awesome. John, thank you so much, man. You take care of yourself. I'll be in touch.
Okay, you take care too. I'll see you.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for listening to Phantasm Podcast on State Diver Radio. And remember, stay gore.